This guest was probably sitting in those same seats that you are back in 1985. And so he's very, very pleased to be back on the campus that he went to high school at. And he has some very special messages to deliver to you. And also there'll be time for some questions at the end. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Senator Kevin De Leon.
Good morning. Buenos dias. It's an honor and it's a pleasure to be here this morning with all of you at San Diego High School, the Cavers. And I'm really honored. Principal Cordero, thank you very much for that wonderful welcome to the Superintendent of San Diego Unified School District, Ms. Cindy Martin. Thank you very much for hosting this event. And before I share a few words with all of you, I want to introduce two individuals who are very important, who are very special to me as well. And they're two senators. One senator is from San Diego, and he represents many of you, and he is the chair of the subcommittee on the budget on education. So when it comes to money for all the schools in California, as well as the community colleges, as well as the University of California and the Cal State system, he's the one individual who has the purse strings, and that is Senator Marty Block. Martin, I call him Senator Martin Bloque, too, at the same time. And another very good friend of mine, he is from East Los Angeles, specifically. He went to school there, Garfield High School, and he's the chair of a committee called the Appropriations Committee, which handles all the bills that have a price tag, that have money to it. And that is Senator Ricardo Lara. Senator Ricardo Lara. So let me share a few words with all of you, and then more importantly, through Principal Cordero, perhaps I can answer some questions that you have of me. I'm a proud caver, like all of you. I'm honored, to have graduated from this high school, from your high school. And where I started from was, I'm the youngest child of a single immigrant mother with a third grade education. So my mother graduated, or not graduated, but my mother went to the third grade. I have two older sisters. They both came to San Diego High School too, but they didn't graduate from San Diego High School. They didn't graduate at all whatsoever, so they actually dropped out of school. And I came to San Diego High School, at that time it was a lot different than it is today. You have a lot more buildings here. But at that time, my mother was a housekeeper, and she cleaned homes right across the bridge, Coronado Bridge, in Coronado. And for those who are familiar with La Jolla, my mother was a housekeeper in La Jolla too, as well as Mission Hills. So it was my mother, and I remember we would catch the number 34 bus. And the 34 bus would start at Logan Heights. For those who lived in Logan Heights, or Barrio Sherman, or Barrio Lomas, that's where I grew up. I grew up there in Logan Heights, and in Sherman over by Market Street, on 22nd and Market Street. And also on 16th Street, right over here on 16th Street, I grew up, you know where the 94 freeway comes in and it exits? Over by Smart Final? Yeah. I grew up like maybe 2 blocks, un callejón, right over there in an alleyway on the very bottom, in the basement. And my mother was a housekeeper. And she cleaned homes in La Jolla, and in Mission Hills, and in Coronado. And she was the woman who actually paid the rent. And she was the woman who put the food on the table. And she was the woman who put the clothes on my back. In this case, for me, specifically, it wasn't a man, but it was a woman with a third grade education. And I remember coming to San Diego High School, and also, how many kids have gone here to Roosevelt Junior High? Okay, Rough Riders, okay. Well, I was a Rough Rider too, myself. I was a Rough Rider. So right up the street up here. next to the zoo. You remember during PE when the tour buses would go by, you know, we would jump up and down like monkeys and jump on the fence and try to scare the tourists all the time. Yeah, and the tour bus would come by, we'd run at the fence and start jumping up and down, you know. But I went to Roosevelt as well too. And coming here was a really good experience for me. Now, I never thought in my wildest dreams, never, ever, that I'd become an elected official, let alone a politician. Never in my wildest dreams. It wasn't part of my DNA. It wasn't part of my my goals, my dreams, my aspirations. Again, I said my mother, you know, was a housekeeper. So in my household, there wasn't really a lot of role models. You know, we didn't have engineers, we didn't have, you know, doctors, we didn't have teachers, we didn't have directors of nonprofit agencies, we didn't have folks who were business folks, you know, we didn't have architects. We had, you know, just my family, my tía, la hermana mayor de mi mamá, the older sister, my mother. She was a housekeeper too. She was a housekeeper as well too. So everyone was a housekeeper in my house, you know. But there were women who carried themselves with a lot of dignity, a lot of pride, never ashamed of who they are or what they did because they earned their money, you know, working very, very hard. And if there's anything that I would convey, communicate to each and every one of you, is that it is possible to do a lot of great things in this great state of California. I want to put this in context because oftentimes, you know, we come from very disadvantaged backgrounds. We come from difficult circumstances. Sometimes we don't have the whole family intact together. Sometimes we have separation. Oftentimes we have dysfunction in our own families. That's actually a normal thing, more normal than people actually think. And I had that in my family as well too. I can be very honest with you about that. And in many ways, the way I succeeded was I had people who took a chance on me. They actually took a chance on me because at the time, I remember when I went on to college, I didn't have all the grades. I didn't have the best grades. So I interviewed and hopefully I could convince them that I could be admitted to the University of California at Santa Barbara at the time. And they took a chance on me. That doesn't mean that, you know, you can't slip up and, you know, not get good grades, because obviously your focus should be to get good grades. Whether you want to go on to UCSD or UCLA or UC Berkeley or Cal State LA or San Diego State University or a community college to get a good career technical education. Those are solid things. And what I would say to you is never let anyone tell you that you cannot succeed. I'm telling you right now, from the bottom of my heart, from my own personal experiences, never let any one individual, it could be a family member, it could be a close friend, it could be someone of authority, never let anyone tell you that you cannot succeed. There will be times, in fact, there will probably be many times, when you don't believe in yourself. And I can tell you this right now, that's normal. That is quite normal. I know for me specifically, there were times when I didn't believe in myself. Lots of times. Sometimes as an adult right now, in the position that I currently am, which I'll explain in a few moments, there are times when I have my own self-doubts. And what I want to convey to you is that's actually a normal thing to do. That's a normal thing to say. You know, I'm not sure about myself on this. I'm not sure of myself on that. I don't know if they're going to think I'm smart, you know. Those are normal things. And never doubt yourself. Never let anyone get in your way to what you want to dream and aspire to be. Never let that happen. Because there will be individuals, there will be institutions who will have doubts. I know, for me specifically, I had institutions that doubted that I could succeed. I had individuals who doubted that I could succeed. And I wasn't the smartest person in the world. I didn't graduate, you know, cum laude, magna cum laude. I wasn't the valedictorian of San Diego High School. Far from it. I wasn't the ASB president, the class president. I was none of that. But I was proud to be a caver. And I was proud to graduate because I was the only one to graduate in my family from high school. And that made my mother proud. That made my mother so proud that I could graduate just from high school itself. You know? So what I'm saying to you is do not doubt yourself, even when others may. You have to have the strength from within to fight through that, to believe in who you are as an individual. It's absolutely critical. Now, to give you context, I represent now Los Angeles. And I represent an area that is probably the most diverse district in the entire world. I represent about 1 million constituents, so does Senator Block and Senator Cardinal. I represent all of Chinatown. I represent all of Little Tokyo. I represent all of Little Armenia. I represent all of Filipino town. So, you know, when Manny Pacquiao comes to fight, he always comes to my district all the time, and that's where he trains before he goes out to Las Vegas. I represent all of Thai town. I represent the largest concentration of Mexicans outside of the Republic of Mexico in Boyle Heights and East Los Angeles. And I represent the largest concentration of Central Americans in the world outside of Central America. Salvadorians and Guatemalans, to be specific, near the MacArthur Park area, just west of downtown Los Angeles. It's an incredible tapestry of diversity. It's a beautiful mosaic of different ethnicities and colors. And I can tell you this, whether you're black, white, Latino, Asian American, or as we see many different ethnicities coming together, that is the strength of who we are. Diversity is a strength. The different ethnicities and colors of who we are is actually a strength. And that's the way I view it in my district, and that's the way I view the state of California. It's the strength of who we are as Californians, because we complement each other, and we learn from each other. Whether your parents are from Scotland or from Ireland, or they're from Jalisco, Mexico, or Guanajuato, Michoacan, whether you're from Senegal, whether you're from Nigeria, from India, from Guatemala, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, China, these different ethnicities actually strengthen the bonds of who we are as a community, as a city, as a state. Now, we know, because you've heard it before, sometimes when adults don't follow that same logic, they say certain comments, even politicians, to divide communities for political gain. I'm looking at the audience here of all the Cavers here at the different schools here at San Diego High School, and I see a reflection of who we are in California. I see Asian Americans, Latinos, African Americans, I see Irish Americans, I see an amazing tapestry. That's who we are as a state. And that's the strength of who we are. And that's the future. President Barack Obama, about a month ago, in his State of the Union address in Washington, D.C., to the members of Congress, talked about the future of America. I can tell you today, by looking in this audience, San Diego High School, the Cavers, the future of America is San Diego High School today. You are the future of this country. And I don't say this just to say this, so we can feel good about each other. I truly mean it. I truly mean it. And making sure that you have opportunities to succeed is our role. Now, I want to put this in context so you can understand this. If you want to be an engineer, we want to make sure that opportunity exists. If you want to be a public school teacher, a lawyer, if you want to be an architect, you want to be a venture capitalist, you want to be an actor, we want to make sure you succeed. Someone may say, well, you know what, I don't want to be neither of that. I actually just want to be a taxi cab driver. And if you say that, and that's what you truly want to be, then you're empowered to make that decision. The difference is if you have no education, then you don't have the opportunity to go on to higher education. Then you don't have the power to make the choice of what you want to do. The reason why I say this is that when my mom came to this country, my mom didn't say, what do I want to do? My dream is I want to be a housekeeper. And I want to go to La Jolla. And I want to go to that little hotel called La Valencia Hotel, and that big hotel called the Coronado Hotel. And those big homes, beautiful homes with the ocean panoramic views over La Jolla Cliff, looking out the ocean. My mom did say, that's what I want to do. That's my dream. My mom had to do that because that was the only thing that she could do with a third grade education. So you see the difference? She wasn't empowered to have the choice to say, this is what I want to do, and this is what I'm going to do. She had no choice. That was the only thing that she could do. But that being said, I'll give that woman a tremendous amount of credit. Because some folks in this audience may identify with me and say, I think that's my mom too. Or that's my father in a different way. Or that's my tia, mi abuela, whoever maybe takes care of you in your house. I'll give her credit because she was a woman who still did that and carried herself with dignity and self-respect. Never felt pity for her own self. So that's why I'm saying to you, it's possible to achieve your dreams and goals. Now, I am what they call the President Pro Tem of the California State Senate. And what that means is that we have a body of senators. We have 40 senators in California. 40 senators that represent the whole state of California. And I am the leader of that Senate. And what we do, as you know, through your civics courses, your U.S. history, we have three branches of government, right? The executive, the legislative, and the judicial. Senator Block, Senator Lara, myself, we belong to the legislative branch. And there's a bicameral body, right? Bicameral, meaning two. The Assembly and the Senate. And we're senators. And I am the leader of the Senate. From San Diego High School, from Logan Heights, and Barrio Sherman. And that's never happened before in the history of the state of California. In fact, I'm the first Latino since 1883 in over 133 years to become the leader. So, as a person of color, I'm saying to all of you, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. There'll be obstacles out there. There'll be institutions as well as people, adults, who say, we don't believe in you. And you'll have an opportunity to not just empower yourself, but your family members, your little brothers, your sisters, other siblings. The reason why Marty Block, Ricardo Lara, and myself are involved in politics, and sometimes people don't like politics. And I understand that. I completely understand that. But what we say to folks is you have to get involved in politics. You have to vote. You have to participate. Because if you don't get involved in politics, politics will get involved with you, whether you like it or not. We debate issues together. Very important issues. Issues such as climate change. Issues such as energy. Issues such as more money for schools and from schools. Issues such as more slots in higher education at UCSD or San Diego State, or less slots. Issues about parks or less parks. So once you understand and you look at your own neighborhood and you think, well, how come I don't have parks in my neighborhood? Well, how come I don't have green space? How come I don't have trees in my neighborhood? How come I have all these factories that spew out harmful toxins and pollutants? And how come some neighborhoods are so beautiful? There's just trees everywhere, parks and open space. Well, you have politicians who made decisions. They made decisions and they said, well, we believe this neighborhood here should get this, and this neighborhood should not get this. So people made a subjective decision. And that's what public policy is all about. This is when you start thinking, why does this happen this way? And why does this happen that way? Why is it that in the prisons, because we deal with prisons as well too, in prison policy, in drug policy, marijuana policy, crack, crystal, all the drugs, those are the issues that we have to deal with. And we have folks who deal with penalties for, against, all the public policies. These are issues that we deal with and grapple with. What I'm saying to each and every one of you is that once you get involved, whatever your opinions are, and they can be across the board. Some may say, I disagree with you, Senator Dilliam. That's fine. Or I disagree with you, or I agree with you, Senator Block, and Senator Calulata. Is that you become empowered to have your own voice, to participate in the civic process. I can tell you this, I'm deeply honored, I'm very humbled to share a few words with, all of you, the Cavers. Trust me that when I go back to the state capitol, I'll take you guys with me. If you guys make it to the state capitol, I want you to make sure that you let me know, Principal Cordero, and Superintendent Martin, if the kids from Senio High School make it up to the state capitol, please let me know so we can open up our doors and give you a full capitol tour of your house. This is your house. Again, we'll open to questions, I guess, right there. And for me, it's a deep honor. It's a pleasure to share a few words with each and every one of you. Thank you very much, everybody. Okay. What are we doing here? We're doing questions, Principal? Just one? Yes, sir.
Hi, actually I have two questions, but I'll stick to the more important one. So it is my understanding that you three senators have a large impact on what happens in schools, and I was wondering what you think you can do to improve the situation of the representation of LGBTQ plus students, and yeah.
LGBT representation of students, or like a representation in city
well,
governance?
just like proper representation of diverse ways of life of people who do not fit the gender binary
Sure.
or heteronormative stereotypes. Go ahead.
I appreciate the question very much. The LGBT community, for me, is a very important community. As I had mentioned earlier, whether you're Latino, African American, Asian American, white, mixed racially, the diversity of who we are, that also includes the LGBT community, whether you're lesbian, you're bisexual, whether you're gay, whether you're transgender. And the human and civil rights of all individuals must be respected. It's absolutely paramount. Now for youth, the LGBT youth at a high school level, it can be very difficult. It can be very tough because of the intolerance, sometimes that's perpetuated by students themselves, for the ignorance, but I think that's changing a lot. During our period, it was very difficult, very difficult. A lot of kids now, young men and students are very open. We've moved measures to be anti-bullying measures at the high school level. We've moved measures to deal with fostering, healing, because of the polarization, the ostracization, if you will, of LGBT community members. I know that Senator Calulata, being a member of the LGBT community, has moved forward very progressive measures to deal with the plight of young men and women. I can tell, and Senator Calulata can have a much more richer, robust perspective, but I have spoken with young LGBT community members, and at times they can feel very isolated and very alone. And this is who we are as a society, and they should all be respected, regardless of who they are, where they come from. They should be all respected. So that's part of our agenda in the state Senate, is to move forward progressive policies as it relates to the LGBT community in general, but specifically also too at the high school level too. It's a very good question. Let me take one more. Can I take one more? I'll take one more question. Yes, sir. Future plans. Good question. I'll answer very quickly. Senator Marty Block, right here, is the author of Senate Bill SB 15. It's SB 15. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to invest more money into higher education. So we can, at the UC level, we'll have 5,000 brand new slots. Slots meaning 5,000 brand new openings. So you can go into a UC level school if you want to. And 10,000 brand new slots that are opened up at the Cal State level as well too. Because right now, what happened was we had a budget crisis, and we have the Cal State and UC systems relying heavily on out-of-state students coming from New York, Texas, Georgia, elsewhere. We want to make sure that we give California students priority to the universities here in California. We want to make sure that we can give you the financial aid that's necessary. It's about accessibility, it's about affordability. Now, if you come from, say for example, San Isidro, Logan Heights, Shelltown, Sherman, and your mom's a housekeeper or your father's a jornalero, and you're smart and you want to go into higher education, but you don't have the money, and your parents don't have the money, it's going to be really hard. So we want to make sure that we invest in all of you, our students here in California, to have the access to higher education. Because what it's all about, it's about the economy of California. I'm going to give you one quick factoid so you know that. These are the top 10 largest economies in the entire world. The top 10 largest economies in the entire world. Number 1, it's the United States of America. Number 2, China. Number 3, Japan. Number 4, Germany. Number 5, France. Number 6, it is the UK, United Kingdom. Number 7, the 7th largest economy in the entire world is the state of California. The state of California is the 7th largest economy in the world. Number 8 is Brazil. Number 9 is Russia. And number 10 is Italy. Italy, 10, Russia, 9, 8, Brazil, 7, California. That shows you how powerful our economy is. Our economy is more powerful than Mexico, than all of Central American countries put together. And that is going to be dependent on how well you do at San Diego High School and how well you do in the future. Our economy is going to be dependent on the youth. And that's why it's important that we invest in all of you. It's also important. I know that you're very intelligent. I know that you're very bright. I know everyone's at different levels. And trust me on one thing, you know, I was a person who kind of took a little longer to catch on. It took a little longer for me to understand things. I had to personally ask the teacher for more help. Sometimes I'd be a little embarrassed. I didn't want to do it in front of the class because I didn't want folks to think that, you know, I was slow. So I'd wait after class to ask the teacher. So for me, it took a little longer. Some kids are like this, boom, 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 they get it. They understand it quick. Me, it took a little longer. But that's okay, because it doesn't make a difference if you get it right there, or if it takes you just a little longer. As long as you get it, that's the important part. And as you can tell, I got a lot of it after the fact, you know, and where I'm at today, obviously, is because of persistence. Hard work ethic, persistence, persistence, persistence. You do not have to be the smartest person in the classroom. But you have to have a very strong work ethic. You have to have a very strong work ethic, and you have to be curious. If you have those two things, you're going to do really well in life. I want to say, from the bottom of my heart, it's an honor to share a few words with each and one of you. I'm very sorry, I'm embarrassed that they put this picture up here for you to see. You know, I know it's visual, you know, pollution, you know, of some sort, you know. So with that, God bless you, and go K-Birds!